Yo, what's happening my tribe, here with another Diablo 4 video. With the new season 1, I'm leveling a druid and it's been really great. The more I played, the more powerful this build gets and got me to level 50 in no time. This build goes companion heavy, making use of the wolves, ravens, and most important, poison creeper and landslide, destroying individual enemies, elites, or big mobs of enemies with a single click. I will go over the skill tree I used to get to level 50, the gear, and the aspects you want to start using to make this build really powerful and set you up for even more damage when you go above level 50. I honestly gotta say that it was really fun controlling the companions like a druid should do. So let's jump right into it, and don't forget to like this video and comment down below if you use a similar build or your experience about druids class this season. Game on! This great leveling build is defined by the constant use of companion skills, aka wolves, ravens, and poison creeper, and the core skill landslide. The most of your damage will come from poison creeper and landslide, making the enemies poisoned, slowed, and immobilized. Using the rest of the companion skills as support will give you fortify, more critical strike chance and damage, and make enemies vulnerable, increasing the damage you do overall. So if you like a build that uses minions like I do, then you're going to like this one on the druid as well. The way I play it on single targets, it's use the ravens and then send the wolves while using your landslide on packs of enemies. And here's the fun part, I use poison creeper to poison of course and immobilize, while using the ravens to make vulnerable an elite or a tough enemy within the pack, while sending the wolves when it's active, and using landslide when you have spirit available. If you ran out of spirit, use storm strike if needed to replenish and repeat the cycle. I'm going to show you the synergy that exists between the skills, the legendary aspects, and the new malignant hearts that make this build really shine. But first, let's check the skill tree while leveling so you get an idea where to spend your skill points and why. So starting from level 1 and 20, you want to use 1 point in Storm Strike. This storm based skill will give you a small AoE attack, a nice damage reduction, and can work as the spirit recovery skill. Next, 1 point in Enhanced Storm Strike to have a chance to immobilize all enemies hit. After 2 points, you open the core skills and want to grab the Earth skill Landslide. That will be your starter single target damage dealer. Then grab Enhanced Landslide to immobilize an enemy after your 4th hit, and then grab Primal Landslide. This is a very important and mandatory skill that will earn you a Terra mode after you immobilize or stun an enemy, and it will guarantee you a critical strike with multiplier after consuming it. So if you're on the same boat as I did, like what the hell is a Terra mode? Like where is it? On your buff bar you can see it, and when you got a Terra mode and how many you got, and it's the same icon as the landslide. So now to open the defensive skills, you need to use 1 more point in Fierce Storm Strike to have a chance to make enemies vulnerable. Since this is after the nerf, it's still a very good damage bucket. Next, we spend 1 point in Earthen Bulwark to have a barrier around the character that absorbs a percentage of your base life in damage. Then grab Enhanced Earthen Bulwark to make you unstoppable while active. This will break any impair or CC over you. Then 1 point in Preserving Earthen Bulwark to grant a percentage of your base life as fortified. At this stage, if you have trouble with spirit regen, you can grab instead Blood Howl and Innate Blood Howl that will heal you and generate 20 spirit in the process. To be honest, I didn't mind getting out of spirit and regenerate it with the Storm Strike. So now we need 2 more points to open the companion node, so we spend 2 points in Landslide since it's the most important skill so far in damage. So now with the companion skill open, we grab Poison Creeper. That's gonna become the most important damage dealer now, and crowd control skill. It has a passive and an active behavior. The active one is when you activate the skill and the vines will come out of the ground and immobilize surrounding enemies and poisoning everybody over time. Now the passive one is a lucky chance activation and has and it works like a poison vine emerge from the ground and poisons an enemy. You can always see the creeper vine moving around your character a long distance. Now grab the Enhanced Poison Creeper to increase the immobilized duration, and then grab Brutal Poison Creeper to increase your critical strike chance against enemies strangled by the Poison Creeper. So you got a ton of critical strike chance and critical strike damage multiply already, and it's early in the game. Now you need 2 more points to open the Wrath skills, so spend them in Poison Creeper skill. Next, you're gonna spend 3 points in Call of the Wild to increase the companion skill damage by 30% multiplier. Now it's time for the other companions to arrive. Spend 1 point in Wolves to have them do damage to enemies or focus on enemies by doing even more damage. Grab next Enhanced Wolf Pack to deal 20% multiplicative damage to immobilize, stun, slowed, or poison enemies. That means more damage to enemies afflicted by the Poison Creeper skill. And 1 point in Ferocious Wolf Pack to have a chance to fortify you when wolves attack. Now use 1 point in Raven. As well, you have a passive and an active skill. The passive one is that one Raven periodically does damage to an enemy, and the active one, it's an area that is swarmed with Ravens and deal damage over time. Grab Enhanced Ravens to have a 5% increase of critical strike chance for 6 seconds after being hit by Ravens, and Ferocious Ravens to make enemies vulnerable when they are inside the swarm of Ravens. Now get over to the Wrath skills and use 1 point in Neurotoxin to slow by 8% your poison enemies by the Poison Creeper, and then 1 point in Envenom so you and your companions gain 10% additive critical strike damage against poison enemies. At this point you are in level 20-ish, depending how many extra skill points you grab from your Renown. If you complete the first chapter of the Season 1 journey, you can get the Subterranean aspect that on every Poison Creeper cast, you will also cast Landslide in a circle around you, doing massive damage. And also your Earth skills, aka the Landslide, will deal 10% as basic crit damage to poison enemies. Also, another aspect you want early on to increase your damage is the Crash Stone aspect to deal with your Earth skills a big multiplicative increase of critical strike damage to crowd control enemies. It can be found in the Stockades dungeon in Scotland. Now we complete filling up Envenom with 2 more points to get 30% additive critical strike damage against poison enemies. We spend 3 points in Crushing Earth so that Earth skill, aka the Landslide, have a 15% multiplier increased damage to slow, stun, immobilize, or knockback. Grab 1 point in Defiance to deal a multiplicative damage increase to elites. Then you can grab the key passive Earthen Might to have a chance to restore all spirit and guarantee all attacks to be critical strike for 5 seconds, and will increase 10% when critical striking, and if the target is stunned, immobilized. Then use 2 points to complete filling out Poison Creeper and 2 points finishing up Landslide. Next, use 3 points in Safeguard to fortify you for 2% base life when you're critical strike, and then 3 points in Stormguard to increase by 4% multiplier your Earth skill damage, aka the Landslide, while you have fortified over 15% of your max life. And with all the fortified sources that we have added to this build, we can meet the requirements. So now comes the ultimate skilled node, and I didn't use Petrified to be able to use all the companions, but if you want to use it or have problem with Spirit Regen, having Supreme Petrify can help with that. So maybe after level 50 you will need to change the companions to Petrify, because Spirit Refresh will mean that you can apply more Landslide, but it's your choice how you want to play it and have fun with this build. So apply the 2 remaining points in Defiance to get to 12% multiplier damage increase to elites. Next, 3 points in Natural Disaster to increase damage of your Earth skills to vulnerable enemies, and your Storm skill, aka the Storm Strike basic skill. Now go up on the core skills to increase even more the damage of Landslide by grabbing 1 point in the Heart of the Wild to get to the next node of Wild Impulses, so that the core skills do 15% multiplicative damage but cost 9% multiplier more elixir. And now go to companion skills and use the 3 point on Nature's Reach to deal 9% multiplicative damage to distant enemies, and it's doubled to 18% multiplier if they are slowed, stunned, or immobilized. For the spirit boons on this build, I use Wariness to take 10% reduced damage from elites. I bonded with the Eagle Spirit to activate the 2 boons, Sight Talons to have a 5% additive critical strike chance, and Avian Wrath to have a 30% multiplier of critical strike damage. Next is Pack Leader to have a lucky hit that critical strike have a 20% chance to reset the cooldowns of your companion skill. And since we have a high critical strike chance with this build, this is going to get activated quite often and can reapply Poison Creep and Wolves or Ravens. And last is Obsidian Slam, that every 20th kill will cause the next Earth skill to overpower. But if you're using an ultimate skill like Petrify, use Calm Before the Storm to have a chance to reduce the ultimate cooldown by 2 seconds. When you level up, you will be changing your gear constantly when you get a better item power one. So I'm not gonna mention what affixes are better because you won't spend any money enchanting or upgrading an item when money is scarce at the beginning, and you're gonna change that piece a few levels down the road. Try to have willpower in most of the gear because that's your main stat as a druid, and critical strike chance, critical strike damage, cooldown reduction, damage to vulnerable, poison damage, since we do poison damage with the Poison Creeper, percentage of damage, total armor, ranks to Poison Creeper, Landslide or the companions, movement speed, among others. And for this build, try to have nice two-handed weapon for damage and have a 100 power increase with the aspect that you apply to that weapon. Now, the aspect that I have on this build are aspect of Quicksand that would allow Earth skills to CC enemies with slow by 25% as base. You can obtain it at Feral's Den dungeon in Scotland. Next is Shepherd's aspect that will increase your landslide damage with 10% multiplier for each active companion. With this build, I got 3 wolves up to 4 with the orange vicious heart and 1 raven. So a great increase in damage if you play with the companions. It's located in Blood-Soaked Crag in Dry Steppes. Next is aspect of Disobedience to increase armor when you deal damage. It's located in Halls of the Dam in Kyrgyzstan. Next is the Ballistic aspect that will increase the Earth skills by 2 ranks if you have Fortify. And with this build, we're gonna have Fortify a lot. It's located in Whispering Pines dungeon in Scotland. Next is the Crashstone aspect that I mentioned before, and this makes that Earth skills deal multiplicative increase in critical strike damage to crowd control enemies. It's found in the Stockades dungeon in Scotland. Next is the Subterranean aspect that I mentioned before. It will make Poison Creeper cast Landslide around it, and Earth skills deal multiplicative damage to poison enemies. You can obtain it by finishing the first chapter in the Season 1 journey. Next is the aspect of the Stampede that will make you gain 1 additional companion, and your companion skill deal multiplicative bonus damage, impacting wolves, ravens, and the Poison Creeper. It was recently buffed in patch 1.1.0a, and it can be located only from legendary items. Next is the aspect of Natural Balance that when using a storm skill like the basic skill Storm Strike will make Earth skills, aka the Landslide, have more critical strike damage for 4 seconds. And when you cast Landslide, will increase the opposite way, the critical strike chance of Storm Strike by 8%. It can be found only from legendary items. So guys, it doesn't matter if you don't get them all, but have them in your to-do list to improve the build's damage. So Season 1 introduced the Cage Heart that it will be socketed in the amulet and in the rings. So now for leveling, the ones I used the most were the Vicious Heart. It was an orange one that says that kills have a 6% chance to summon a wolf. That makes the wolf count to 4, increasing our damage with the Shepherd's aspect. 1 Brutal Heart, that's the blue one, and you become immune for a few seconds after you lose more than 20% life in a single hit. That's very helpful in getting big hits. And the last one is a Wrathful Heart, and that's the white one that says that damage over time, or the poison in this build, is increased for each different crowd control on the target. And this build we are doing Immobilize, Slow, and Stun. And also unstoppable monsters and stagger bosses take a big increased damage from the poison. So guys, that's it for the leveling build with the druid that I'm using now in Season 1, and it is pretty fun and powerful at the same time with the use of the companions and the Landslide. If you have used a similar build, please comment down below your experience. I'm starting to learn more about the druid. I'm coming from a level 100 sorcerer, so if I missed anything, please let me know down in the comments. If you found this build helpful, please hit the like button. That it will help the channel a ton so this video can get to more people. And subscribe if you don't want to miss build videos like this one. in the future. So I appreciate guys your time and thank you for watching. So I will see you on the next one. Ciao.